XP and leveling.
So, medium progression.
Okay, because according to the XPs, I'm at 6th level.
I can double check that, but that.
No, I'm looking at the X. That's why I thought you had said that I stayed at 5th level, but I'm just double checking. So while we're.
Give me one moment, and I'll have that.
But medium progression, it's 23,000, and the XP chart says I'm 170 over that, which is fine, which is what I figured too.
Let me see. All right, Doug. Yeah, I need it for 6. You are 170 over. Yeah, so you are 6th level. I don't know. I'm surprised that I would have told you that you didn't make it. I think you. Okay. I apologize if I did, but yeah, you are in the clear.
All right. So I'm leveling up then. Here I go.
Okay. Cool.
So sorry for that caveat, but I wanted to.
So just real quick, can you guys see the XP chart right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that was the case.
Wait. Where are we seeing it? No, it's on Zoom.
Now you have a map, right?
Yeah, I have a map on.
All right. I'm going to switch it real quick. Now, do you see XP?
I see a map.
Or do you see a map still?
Are you talking about on Roll20 or on Zoom?
Yeah, on Zoom.
Oh, I don't have. Really have to look back at Zoom 1 second.
Hey, Les.
Yeah.
On the XP chart.
Now I see the XP chart.
Okay.
Was Climb to the Dragon 2 and 3? Was that all one night?
Yes, that was Climb to the Dragon 1, 2, and 3 were all one night. I believe. Oh, wait, no. 2 and 3 were... Good question.
I've only missed twice, and there was a bunch of zeros in there. So I was assuming that 2 and 3 must have been one night, the night that I missed.
Climb the Dragon 1 would have been the skill challenge. Did you do that?
Which one was that?
I love skill challenges.
Going up the mountain.
I was on the boat before we got to the mountain.
In the sleds.
Oh, that was what it was. Yeah. So Climb the Dragon 1 was the boat attack, the wyverns. 2 and 3 was going up the mountain and then coming back down the mountain. 4 was at the Cania's drop. So for you were at the final battle at Cania's drop, right?
Right. Okay.
And you were you fought the wyverns off the boat. That's what that represents.
Okay.
Okay.
I just missed one night and I saw 2 zeros in there, so I was like, okay.
Yeah, 2 and 3 were the same night. That was New Year's Eve, I think.
Mm-hmm. That's the one I missed up. Okay.
Okay, cool.
I've always loved skill challenges. That time that Mub almost drowned on the boat. Remember, we were trying to cross on a rowboat and he didn't have his swim skill. He fell out of the boat like 4 times.
Classic
Good times,
Mub.
those.
Classic Mub. All right. Anybody else need any questions about XP?
Can I have more?
You need.
Yeah, do you have like a makeup session?
You'll get them. Don't worry.
One way or another.
One way or the other. Attack your party members. They get not only do you get good loot, but you get XP for that too.
We should have like an assistant dungeon master that we could have like a one-off party or adventures with and level up our characters.
Like on Tuesdays or something.
Yeah, like a night school, like extra credit class.
I'm already doing 2 nights a week, man. This is as much as I can get away with without actually having to get a divorce.
Yeah.
All right.
If we can get you paid for it, if we can get you a salary off it, then we.
Yeah, right. No, there's a lot of talk about paid DMs and stuff like that. And honestly, I don't know that I would be comfortable doing that.
Ninja made like $50 million this last quarter. Are you sure you want to say you're not comfortable with that?
I get it. I'm still not comfortable with it because I do it because I enjoy the game. And I just feel like if I charged you guys for something, that there would be certain expectations created of value for the money. And
like you wouldn't be here.
I'm sorry. Under no circumstances would I offer to pay you, but we can get sponsorships and make other people watch.
Yeah, other people, people with money.
Yeah. We're a humorous bunch. This could sell commercial time.
I feel like that would create certain obligations on my part, you never know if people have, some people have a bad night, some people get killed. I'd hate to be the player who pays.
Titled the okayest.
Yeah, I would lose. I would be the okayest paid DM. So
Yeah, the only difference is that your vest you're wearing right now would have to be covered in sponsorship patches.
Well, I got one. It's an ad marketplace vest, so
Yeah.
which I like. That'll be the last of that stuff I get. Anyway, so you guys have this body. You have a journal. You pretty sure that this journal that you found, this waterlogged journal, is Rajana's. So your suspicion is that this body, which, from a general sense, could be her, might actually be her.
I have trouble thinking of a high-level spellcaster, much higher than us, I'm assuming, gets taken out on the first chapter of the adventure. So.
Well, the other thing is, there's honestly, this is a town that you expected to be a town. There's nobody here. I mean, like, no people at all.
Yes, I'm going to go down and look. Is this whole south area, is that like decimated, or why are the roofs all missing?
So there's a fair amount of ruined buildings down there. The buildings that are still intact are sort of clustered around this square where the fountain is. There's more of them in the north than there is in the south. On the northern and the most northern end and the most southern end are more sort of like ruins. And the way Geb's Rest is set up is it was sort of built on top of the ruins of an older town. And you think of like a city like Troy, and archaeologists have found that there have been like 7 or 8 different incarnations of the city of Troy in northern
Illinois
Africa.
or Missouri?
No, northern Africa, the historical city of Troy.
I'm
Trojan
kidding.
War.
I'm kidding. Just like.
But they just, when, Troy gets leveled by the Greeks and then, the people move back in, the location of Troy is still pretty good. So they go back in and they build it back up and it becomes a city again. They just build on top of it. And that's kind of what Geb's Rest is on a much smaller scale. There was an older town sort of underneath it. And the the current residents, or at least what you thought were current residents of this town, sort of built on top. But as they did so, they haven't built over the whole town. The older town is bigger. The newer town is smaller and clustered around the fountain, which kind of makes sense. I mean, if when this town grows, it's going to grow outward from the fountain, from the water source. But yeah, those are sort of the old sort of ruins of buildings. There's still a fair amount of like walls and stuff like that, and in some cases they're still pretty high, but most of it's pretty bunged up. But there's a real sort of definitive place where current buildings stop and older buildings start, older ruins start up. If that makes sense.
As much as anything else.
So what do you guys want to do? You got this book, you got this body, and you've got sort of a mystery of where are all the people in the town. It's sort of like the beginning of Aliens. It's like, where is everybody kind of thing. But I don't know. What are you guys going to do?
Well,
how dead is the creature? I'll do a heal check. And
on the body of the woman?
Yeah, is she young enough? Is she fresh enough, so to speak, for me to speak with dead with her?
Well, speak with dead. Last, hold on, let me check that. Now that's spelled. You have speak with dead?
Yep.
It's a high level spell, isn't it?
It is a high level spell. What do you do? Who gave you that?
Maybe that's not a high
Third
level
level
spell.
spell.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Raised Dead.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. All right, speak with dead. Let's take a look here. So you grant the semblance of life to the corpse, allowing it to answer questions. 1 question for 2 caster levels, which in your case would be
3.
3 questions. They get a will save. It's I don't see anything as long as.
how can a dead person have a will save?
You can cast this spell. Well, it's the spirit has the will save. You can cast
Think
this
of
spell.
him as a hostile witness.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a hostile witness. Which, let's be honest, is really the only kind of witness to be.
Question number 1 is
For any amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it says a damaged corpse may be able to give partial Oh, I'm sorry. You can cast this spell on a corpse that has been deceased for any amount of time, but the body must be mostly intact for it to be able to respond. So I'm assuming that it, has jaws and that kind of thing that can make words. A damaged corpse may be only be able to give partial answers or partially correct answers, but it must at least have a mouth in order to speak.
What about people who speak out their ass? We've worked with plenty.
We've worked with plenty. Well, yeah, but they're not dead yet, so we'll have to test that spell out. Some other
So, Doug, question 1 is new corpse. Who dis?
New corpse. Who dis? Are you dead? Yes. Really? Yes. So, it looks like. From your professional opinion, go ahead and roll the heal check. Let's see how that shakes out.
Hold on a minute.
All right, sir.
Oh, what is my heal check? I just boosted it, so I got to check here.
All right, sir.
+8.
Is that a dog or a cat, Andrew?
It's a big snout.
That's a big dog. I was gonna say it was the way it was in the camera. It looked. At first thought it was a cat, and I was like, "Well, that's a big ass cat."
There's my heal check.
Well, I wanted to meet Doug's cat.
You think you're not? You can't. So here's the thing: you can't determine a cause of death. But her mouth, the corpse's mouth is intact. So you think a speak with dead question would work?
Well, we have 3 questions I can ask her, and I tell the group that if we want to pull the corpse aside and see what into a private place, but there's no one.
There's no one around.
Apparently, that there's nobody around anyway. Right? So,
does a 21 heal check tell us anything more?
It tells you a little more. Basically, hold on a sec. Basically, it tells you that. It confirms your initial suspicions that she was not killed by bladed weapons. Her body is more or less intact you've seen a lot of people killed by weapons, right? You've seen heads smashed, stab wounds, broken legs, missing toes.
Lots of arrow wounds.
Arrow wounds, exactly right. None of that is evidence on this body. Whatever killed her, it was not somebody else with a
physical
weapon.
Thing.
Yeah, it was not a physical thing. And honestly, it's very difficult for you to determine what caused this desiccation. She hasn't been mummified in the traditional sense, in the Osirian sense.
It's like Padme. She just died of a broken heart.
She died of a broken heart. Honestly, you don't know. It's very strange. From somebody who's examined a few bodies in their time, this is a weird one.
Okay.
So, Mike, what is your character? What class?
Oracle.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like every time I have a character, your character does better at everything that I do. Everything. It doesn't matter. I'm a rogue. You do everything better as a rogue. Now that I'm a cleric, you do everything. I'm just going to find out what character you're going to roll off, and then I'm going to say something completely different.
Just pay him, and he'll make you a character, Doug.
Shit. I'm paying nobody for this.
No, I'm a very martial oracle.
Oh yeah, well that's okay. It just seems like it's always over double kill with.
And actually, if you look at this, your skill's better than mine.
No, I know. It's just that. I saw that a +6 versus +8. It's like I'm just gonna wait for Mike to roll and see what he does. All right.
Give me. I don't know. It's so she was whoever this person was. She was definitely killed by some sort of. Well, you suspect some sort of arcane means. Is what your suspicion is. She's killed by magic, not traditional like evocative magic either. She wasn't blown up. She wasn't frozen to death. Because those leave the telltale damage too. Maybe
before we search or we do the questions for her, maybe we should check this out. Maybe we could find her room and find more of her belongings, because that would be
yes.
The questions we would want to know is where the other books are, right? Or
I would think so, yeah.
And maybe where the people are too.
Yeah.
Just because.
Well, let me do a knowledge local and see if I can figure out what's going on here.
I'm gonna go check that inn out. assuming it's got a sign that says it's an inn, that number 3 there, Les?
Yeah, it's an inn. It's called the Dead Rest Inn. As you guys were over by the thing, yeah, the door was sort of standing open.
I'll go with Nolan, Lama. Well,
Okay. All right. Did you roll a knowledge local?
I did. 28.
28. Holy shit snacks. Okay. So yeah, you are actually kind of familiar with having been in Kathir for so long. I mean, you're familiar with Southern Golarian and you've learned a great deal. Geb's Rest is a relatively well-known stop on the trade route between Geb and Nex. It is a place where often people, traders, caravan drovers, that kind of thing, would stop to resupply before heading across the mana wastes, which can be hazardous. So yeah, I mean, this, as far as you know, and up to your knowledge, which is probably maybe 6 months to a year ago, this was a burgeoning town.
So I have no idea why we're not seeing any. Is it church time or something like that?
No, I mean, as far as you're concerned, I mean, as far as you could tell, there should be people here.
Okay.
Even more so with your knowledge local is you recognize that there's something wrong with the fountain. These fountains are common's the wrong word, but almost every one of these little oasis towns has a fountain of this nature. And the water is typically, magically enhanced to ensure that it stays clear, that it stays clean. These are fountains, these are springs that basically serve as the water source for the entire town. To see this one in this condition is very weird.
I'm going to cast Detect Poison then on the fountain.
On the fountain? Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Detect Poison. All right, so there's no save or anything.
There's no save, yeah.
There's no poison in the water.
How about magic? If I detect magic.
On the fountain?
Yeah.
There's no magic on the fountain, which, as you say that, Phineas says, well, there damn well should be.
So that's why it's dead, is because whatever magic was here has been dispelled or gotten rid of.
Well, yeah, so as Phineas would say, look, like I said before, these fountains are preserved by magical means. Make sure the water is clear, that it's that it's not polluted in any way, because they're the sole source of water for an entire town. This one, the water, it's still water coming out of it, but it's full of gook. It's dirty. It's not clear. It's brackish. You can, if you were to taste a little bit and just put a little bit on your tongue, you can tell that it's salty. This is not water that would have been able to preserve a town. But as Mike, as Beltran is there's no magic on this fountain.
And there's no poison in it, meaning that
no poison in it.
So that probably the reason the water is not consumable or is not healthful is from natural means.
Would that make sense?
That would make sense.
So if the 3 clerics who can all create, I assume all 3 of us can create water.
I can create water.
Doug, do you have create water, 0 level spell?
Oh yeah.
How about you, Gordon?
I don't think so. Let me look. No, I don't have that.
You don't have that? Okay. So the 2 of us probably creating about 10, 12 gallons at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think we could spend a few minutes to kind of flush this out and see if the water that is coming up from the spring is actually clear, or if whatever coming up from there is actually dirty?
Yeah, you could. I think that would work. Yeah. You probably need Phineas's help to sort of. I mean, you guys don't really understand how these fountains maybe are engineered, but no. Phineas has some. Phineas could probably tell you the general principles.
He could direct us as we just kind of dump a bunch of water in there, just kind of flush it out.
Yeah, is that what you guys want to do?
Well, before we do that, hold on a minute. Before we do that, I'm going to cast. How many gallons would you say is in this fountain? Is it like a?
Well, it's not full. It's not as full as it should be. At least what Phineas would tell you is like usually these things are full and they're kept full up because people in a normal town like this, there's going to be people back and forth from the fountain all day long, right? There's going to be, the women of the town are going to come and get the morning's water, and then there'll be various people back and forth getting water all day long, and then usually there's another sort of group of people that will come sort of just before sunset and get the evening's water, for their families, for their work, that kind of thing.
Well, before we use to try to flush something out, I'm going to stand there and cast several purify food and drink on the water that's in the fountain. Okay,
so there are how much can you purify?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's one roughly 8 gallons of water.
Yeah, I can do that too. So
1 cubic foot. 1 cubic foot per level, and I'm 6th level. So
6 cubic feet. Okay.
6 cubic feet.
And I could aid him in that.
And the spell does not prevent subsequent naturally blah blah blah. The spell makes spoiled, rotten, diseased, poisonous, or otherwise contaminated food and water pure and suitable for eating and drinking.
Right. Okay. There's a fair amount more than
each round the two of us could do 12 cubic feet.
12 cubic feet. So, yeah, you know what? It would probably take you 3 or 4 rounds, but
half a minute.
You could get about half a minute. You could get pretty much all of the water in there purified. And you would see it, and it will clear. The sediment will fall out of it down to the bottom of the fountain and disappear. And you would see, the water would look good again. However, there is still water coming out of the top of the fountain from the spring, and that would begin to foul what's in the.
Okay, that was my thing. I wanted to find out if it was.
It is brown and crappy.
Okay, so the water coming out of there is what's fouling this, not what's in this fountain. Not the body was in there.
Yeah, it seems so.
Okay.
All right, hold that thought. We'll go to Lama and Nolan. So you guys are going. You're going up to the inn. Do you do anything before you? Are you just blow in? You just roll in there, just like you own the place, or?
I got a question.
Sure.
Just before Lama leaves, she's going to ask: are there spells that evil wizards can use to make water dirty?
I don't know if purify food and drink is reversible. But I mean,
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, probably like something like that. Sure. But as who's your wizard? Rindle would tell you, doing so would leave magical tracks. Okay. So when he says when Beltran cast Detect Magic and there was no magic available, if somebody came in here and purposefully polluted the spring by magic, that would be, there would be some evidence of that.
Okay, just curious.
And there doesn't seem to be.
Oh. So it's either physical or some sort of, could be a spiritual curse or something, right? Or not a spiritual, but a non-magic curse. That would fall outside magic, wouldn't it? Like from a cleric or an anti-cleric kind of thing.
That would be magical. Yeah,
that'd be magical. I thought that would fall under like holy or whatever.
Well, yeah, but it would still be. I mean, it would be divine magic as opposed to arcane.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
Andrew, give me another knowledge local when you get a moment. All right, Lama and Nolan, what are you guys doing over there by that thing? And I'll get to Kazir, Rindle. I'll get to you guys in just a second.
So did you ask me to do
another knowledge local when you get a moment?
Okay.
We got
21.
21. Okay. In response to Rindle talking about possible curses or somebody having come down this, your guess is, knowing a little bit about the desert and a little bit about these towns, is that the crappy sort of brackish salty water coming out of the fountain right now is probably the naturally existing water that exists below the sand. And what happens is you find these things, and as long as it's a viable spring, which this obviously is, that they would purify it by magical means, much in the same way that Snapper and Beltran just purified it through magical means.
We're in the middle of a desert. How would it be brackish?
Well, deserts have a lot of naturally occurring salts. Potassium salts, sodium salts.
Gotcha. There's a salt table. All right.
Okay. All right. Lama and Nolan in the inn. So you guys just go in there and belly up to the bar and say, "Give me a margarita and I want it now."
Get me one.
If that works, I'm going in there.
So the door is just standing open.
Well, I'll walk in and see what's there.
I've got my card drawn less.
Okay, you got your scimitar out. Nolan walks in. Basically, you're looking at a fairly rustic, but frankly well-apportioned common room of an inn. There's a large bar at the opposite end, tables and chairs, various kinds of glasses. There's no people. And what's even... Give me a perception check, both of you, when you get a second. It's very quiet. There's a bit of sand that is sort of like collected in the corners a little bit. It looks like it hasn't been swept out for a while. Maybe some wind blew some sand inside here because most of the ground is sandy ground. And that's for...
Oh, and that's Lama.
Okay, so Nolan got a 22 and Lama got a 15. All right, so Nolan, since you go in, Lama, you're looking around for enemies, and you don't see any people, you don't detect any sort of life inside there. I mean, you're still on watch. This is a little creepy. Nolan, as you're wandering through the tables, you look through these things, and in a couple of places, on several of the tables, you see plates, cups. Forks. On one chair is a bag sort of hanging there. You get a little closer and you look at those plates and you can see that there is food on one of the plates, like a half-eaten dinner that is now sort of dried up in the arid sort of atmosphere. If you look in you pick up one of the mugs and you look inside it and you can see the residue of what was probably wine. Now, obviously, it's all evaporated now, but it's, there's a residue of like wine, probably a half-drunk mug of wine. And that's the case with all the tables. Where you see plates and stuff on tables, there's like half-eaten food, cups with, with the residue of drinks in them. You check out that bag. It's just a bag of, like clothing and personal effects, but it looks like it's just been left here. The impression you get is that whatever came through here took the people and nothing else. And it looks like whatever happened while people were like, frankly, in the middle of lunch or dinner. There are bottles on the bar. There are drink cups on the bar. And they all have like drink residue in them.
How the rooms are, and I'm just basically looking for her room to see if she stayed here and if we can find more books or more info about her.
Okay, so you're going to go around from room to room and see. It takes you a little while. It takes you probably 15, 20 minutes to look through all of them because most of the rooms look like they had people staying in them. So you find a lot of personal effects, some money, in a couple of the rooms. In some cases, papers, but they don't, as you look at the, in one you find a fair amount of like business papers and stuff like that, and it seems to be related to Caravan, a very different handwriting than the one in the journal that you guys found. So you don't think it's hers. You don't see, you toss the place pretty good, but you don't find anything. You don't find other journals. You don't find anything that looks like, sort of magical scholarship equipment or anything like that. Your opinion is that wherever she was staying, it wasn't in this inn. You do find a total of 24 gold pieces. And I don't know who's keeping track of party booty, Andrew.
Hey, you're the secretary.
I know how much money there's there.
All right, go ahead.
24 gold pieces. 47 silver pieces. 72 copper pieces.
Come on, just one electrum piece. Just one electrum piece.
No electrum. That's some second edition shit right there. You lost me. Hold on a second. Okay, a small bag with 3 gems in it. You do a quick appraise on that, and you'll find that they are 50 gold piece gems. And then that's in the rooms, the total in the rooms. Then behind the bar is, the sort of like the area for making change for the drinks and stuff. And there's 104 gold pieces in there, and and upwards of 225 silver.
No one even took the money. Like the.
It's just laying there like it was ready. It's in the equivalent of the cash register.
So whatever killed these guys came through like instantly.
Like teleport.
Wait, are there bodies here, or are there no bodies?
There's no bodies.
Just this one in the well.
Just the one in the well.
Or the fountain. Whatever.
Oh, the fountain, yeah. Yeah, no bodies. There's no bodies in the inn. There were no bodies in the rooms. Nolan, the room, and Lama, the rooms, the bedding looks slept in. Both of you give me another quick perception check as you go through the rooms. That was Nolan. And that was Lama.
Lama's getting bored. Nolan's getting more interested.
All right, so Nolan Lama, you continue to keep your eye out for enemies, and none appear. But Nolan, as you're going through the rooms, the thought occurs to you that out here in the frontier, these rooms should have, well, frankly, some insect life. The beds themselves have those ubiquitous sort of cups on the bed legs. The old medieval thing to keep lice away, of put the bed legs in cups. And put grease in the cups, and the bugs, as they try to get up in the bed, will get trapped in the grease. Several of the rooms have those. You look in the grease, there's no bugs. And a quick toss of the bedding, which should on a normal day chase off at least a flea or two. There doesn't seem to be any insect life at all.
Dude, that's a selling point. We could reopen this inn.
The no bug in.
The no bug in.
Back out and tell everybody what I found.
Okay. All right. So you guys have done that. So that took about 20 minutes. So we're assuming that everybody kind of hangs out by the fountain for that long. All right. Rindle and Kazir, what are you guys doing? Now, you guys have been awfully quiet, and I'm going to move Snapper over by the fountain, since he's been consulting with Beltran on matters related to dead bodies. What about
Have
you,
you found any sign of struggle in this town so far?
Well, you haven't, because you've been by the fountain.
I'll basically ask Nolan as he comes out, hey, was there any sign of struggle? Was there anything knocked over in there?
Not really.
Everybody's disappeared.
Who's got the journal?
I think Beltran has it right now, but Snapper might.
No,
I don't really feel
got
like.
it.
No, he didn't give it to Snapper, but
Leonard's got it.
Don's the one that grabbed it.
Well,
I'm going to take it off Don's inert body for the moment, as he stares off into the middle distance, and we can't seem to reach him. I'm going to take it out of his inert hand for a second, and I think a useful part of my time is maybe trying to decipher a little of what's written down here, to see if it gives us any clues of, even if it doesn't tell us what happens here, if this is the first year, it might give us a direction to start
Give me
heading.
a perception check when you get a moment.
Okay.
Kazir, where I see you wandering around down in the south of the city there, over by the pasture area. Interesting aspect about this pasture area, you can see there's a little barn there. No animals of any kind.
Right. So I don't have handle animal or knowledge skill of a similar thing, but he does have riding, so he grew up around horses, at least
Okay.
on some marginal level. So if there were horses here recently, there would be the remains of what horses leave behind.
Yes.
And if they haven't been here recently, then it would be dried up and whatever. So I'm trying to see if I can figure out an estimated time frame of the last time there was a live animal here.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a perception check. That's excellent detective work, by the way.
You like
Yeah, I just stepped in horse poop, and that's
I can't find it.
I don't
think
see
I might
any.
have gouged out my own eye while I was detecting things.
Tripped and fell on my scimitar.
I'm thinking that maybe Thanos was here, and it just happened to be everybody in his town was killed by his.
Instead of doing the half, he actually did the whole thing.
Yeah, he did the whole thing. He's like, yeah, this whole place has got to go.
All right,
Eminent domain.
Since Nolan and Lama are going to take several minutes to check out the inn, I'm going to go ahead and you guys are going to take a couple of minutes. We will be able to take 10 on this. So, Kazir, let me start with you. So, Kazir, you do find some dung. It is dried and it is small, and you immediately realize that they were whatever animals they were keeping here. It wasn't horses; it was a smaller animal.
Okay.
A little bit of hunting around more leads you to suspect that maybe sheep, maybe goats, maybe both. It's about the right size.
Okay.
But none of them are here.
And there's
You could figure out which one it is by chewing the dung to figure out the sheep.
You imagine like Murray and Caddyshack?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
It's okay.
not all that concerned about what type they were. Is there any way to determine the age of the specimen? Yes.
They're pretty dry. It's pretty dry. I mean, you don't have any animal-related skills. You got survival?
Hang on. I don't have very much in the way of knowledge skills because my character's stupid.
Okay.
No, I don't have survival.
Okay.
And I don't have handle animal.
I've got handle animal, but I'm not there with you.
Right. All I have is ride, which is why I was hoping it was horses.
Right.
It's not horses, but if you were thinking if you want to use horse turds for a proxy for these turds, at least a week old in this weather, at least a week, maybe more.
At least a week old.
Right. I'm not sure how long that takes, but my next step is going to be to go over here.
Okay. And look in that building?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me do Rindle first, and we'll get back to you.
Sure.
All right. Rindle, you are looking in the book. So the book is in itself is written in common. And basically it's set up as almost like a planner or a calendar. There's entries for days written in common that start about 6-7 months ago and continue on. Now you flip through the book and you realize that only about half to 2/3 of the book is even written in. The rest of the back pages are blank, and you're like, oh, well, okay. And you slide backwards to the last entry. The last entry indicates that the writer refers to a camp that she had found a stele, a small obelisk of some sort in the sand that radiated magic that was in the mana wastes. And there's a fair amount of discussion, of a pretty high-level scholarly discussion of that there's something about this stele that might have clues as to how to reverse the effect of the mana wastes, the anti-magical shells. There's a bit of diary-like writing that says, if I could only just translate and properly perform the ritual laid out in this stele, and she mentions it as a side note that it's in Kelishite. She wants to make sure she gets a proper translation. And then on the next couple of pages, you see that there are what look to be translations of this ritual from the Kelishite to common. She also talks about how she was coming 2 days south to go to Geb's Rest and resupply, and that she was going to start out right after she tested the ritual.
Okay. So, well, either she did the ritual and it turned out bad, or All right. Well,
do you mention that do you mention at all that there's any of the writing that you do not understand?
I think it was all in common, so I think I
It was mostly in common. Yeah, there are some certain parts of it are transcribed. Like there's a place where she literally transcribes the ritual that's engraved on the stele that she calls it, and she does write it in Kelishite, which I don't know if you understand or not. Kazir does. But the rest of it's in common. She puts translations there.
But I can cast comprehend languages, and I would understand any written language.
Okay. The vast majority of the book is in common.
All right.
In this case, the Kelishite that Rindle found is a direct copying of the actual carvings on the stele, is what she said. And then she goes on to translate it in writing in the book into common.
Right, but I guess the question is, if this is some sort of whatever you called it, like a ritual or what have you, if she transcribed it or in some other way translated it incorrectly, that would be important to know, I think.
That's true.
Very.
In which Snapper's ability to cast comprehend languages might give indication of that.
Right. Or I am Kelishite, so I speak the language.
True. That's a good point. You speak Kelishite and common.
Right. So either way, I think it would be necessary. Well, I'm not there.
From what Les told us, though, for everybody just heard what he said, does anybody have any additional clues pop to mind for you? I mean, that's useful information. I thought this was the first book. You're saying it's kind of in the middle. Is this the last book?
Well, it's more of a journal. So, I mean, there's a lot of scholarly indication, but this book seems more like notes and journal entries rather than actual like a book of scholarship.
Got it. Okay. Are there dates
Bashir
on this
said
book?
there were 4 books that she's written.
Are there dates on this book?
Yeah, it's dated. The last date is about a week and a half ago.
Okay. So there could be 3 other books, either like this one or more scholarly or maybe 4, I guess. Depending on how we decide if this is just her. I think you're trying to say is this is a journal. This is not her treatise on anti-magic research, right?
Well, as you flip through it, there's a lot of discussion about anti-magic research. You get that this might be first draft.
Okay.
Like notes, she's taking notes as she investigates, and that these notes would ultimately be distilled down into some sort of scholarly tome.
I'm going to take the simplest answer as the right one, so I'm going to say this is one of the 4, and now we need to find the other 3. So I will research again just to see if there's anything about where she stayed or anything that's about maybe another place to look, either here in this village or outside the village that might contain her other journal.
She talks about having a place that she was as part of her last entry. She talks about that she was going to come to this town, which she indicated was 2 days travel south.
Okay.
Which would seem like maybe she was staying, that the location of the stele was 2 days travel north.
I got it. Okay. Well, that gives us a big red arrow. Okay. Well, I guess I feel like I've done my part for the journal for the moment. Anybody else would like to look at it? Knock yourself out.
Kazir, you want to take a quick look at it before you look in the blacksmith shop?
Well, no, I thought that Snapper was going to do his thing. Either way.
Well, I mean, if it's mostly written in common, I don't want to waste a spell.
It's mostly written in common.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more interested to find out. Let's get some clues to focus down on. Raise dead. We only have 3. Not raise dead. Speak with dead. We only have 3 questions. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can verify her translation of the Kelishite language.
Yeah, I mean. So okay, if.
I always like it when Matt's camera comes on unexpectedly.
Is the whole party kind of spreading out all over town, or? I mean.
Well, everybody's kind of hunkered around. I mean, you guys are sort of like in the common area right now, like by the fountain. Rindle, I don't know what the hell you're doing way back there. I'll put you by the fountain. You would be looking at the book over there anyway. I don't know.
I would say based on what we've uncovered so far, we have no idea what wiped this whole thing out quickly, so we should probably stick together.
Well, I agree.
So, Kazir, real quick, as you peer into this, it's an open essentially an open blacksmith shop. It's less of a building with 4 walls than it is a building with like 3 walls.
Look out for a kobold with a fever.
The front is it's like the Andromeda strain hit this place. The front is what is open to the sort of square, and there's a large hearth, an anvil, several tools. You don't know much about blacksmithing, I assume, but you do know that blacksmiths are awfully particular about their tools. And there are a variety of blacksmith tools just sort of scattered about.
And is the forge cold?
Forge is indeed cold.
So again, everything points to whatever happened here happened about a week and a half ago.
Well, so has anyone investigated? On the map it says number 1. It's in the middle of the. Has anyone?
Oh, that's just indicative of the. There's
a legend in the upper right corner. 1 is just town square. 6 is blacksmith. 8 is.
Oh, all right. Okay.
That's
upper
not
right.
where the monsters are.
I see it. I see it now.
Yeah, I didn't forget to leave the encounter numbers in there. I didn't edit the map. No, I spent a lot of time editing maps. All right, so you guys all sort of like go back to the fountain by the body and Snapper. Are you gonna ask your questions or?
Well, has anyone checked out this temple?
Nope.
That looks like a job for a priest.
That's where I'm going.
All right, so you're gonna go check that out. Anybody gonna go with them?
I think
I'll back up Snapper. Yeah, I'll back up Snapper.
All right, so is anybody a cleric of Nethys?
Not today.
Okay, so Nethys is a pretty common god in the southern reaches of Golarion, and this is a temple to them, or it, whatever it is. I'm not entirely 100% familiar with Nethys. It has the usual trappings of a temple. Those of you who are clerics, would be common stuff. There's an altar, various kinds of altar accoutrements, area for seating to listening for lectures, various kinds of cups and swords and arrows and things like that are all part of the that you clerics would recognize as being sort of spiritual accoutrements and things of that nature.
A variety of way extracting money from,
Exactly. What you don't see, so again, like the blacksmith shop, no priest would ever leave these things just laying about. These are the holy items or holy stuff of this particular temple, and it's just sort of laying out. Most of the time between services, between I don't want to say rituals, but between whatever sort of ceremonies take place, these things would be stored away in for safekeeping, and in this case, they're just sitting out.
I'm going to detect magic.
Okay. You do not detect any magic in here. This is a fairly modest town. You don't think. Well, let me rephrase that. You do detect a little bit of divine magic on the altar on some of the accoutrements. What you would recognize as the magic that would accrue to an item had it been blessed on multiple occasions. There would be some residual magic in it, but they're not magical items per se.
Okay, using a knowledge religion check, which I'll give you in a second, but I want to search this place for any kind of secret compartments, a library, books that might give some, indication. Okay. So I have to get my knowledge religion check here.
Okay.
That's 9. But the idea is, natural 20 on my knowledge religion on where or what I'm looking for, and where would be the best place for a priest to do it. But then I'm going to take a 20 on any kind of a search or perception or whatever it is that we.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to take the time, and people need to come looking for me or whatever. So.
Okay. So Nethys is a deity of wizards and magic. and he's of Gurundi thing, and he also is associated with the plains. In this case, this is a very modest temple to Nethys. Like I said, some of the accoutrements radiate a little bit of magic in that they've been blessed. You do find what look to be the priest's quarters. They are tidy, neat. There's a table with some papers and a quill and stuff on it, various kinds of writing. I don't know if you speak Kelishite or anything like that, but it looks like to be the same writing that was in the journal, the same kind of writing. It's not the same hand, different handwriting, same language.
I will collect that for. I don't know which member of the party speaks or can read Kalishak, but
Kazir can.
Okay, Kazir, I'm going to be collecting all this stuff. Anything with writing on it, I'm going to present to him ultimately to see if there's any clue of what's going on,
Okay. You also find what you would. Are we? Okay. You also see what you look to be there are a couple of chests with latches and locks. They are unlocked. As you open them up, they have various kinds of cloths and padding inside. This is the places where you suspect that these sort of spiritual accoutrements would be stored, in non-ceremonial periods. But they're empty. They're empty right now. There is a small, not entirely empty. There is a small silver holy symbol of Nethys, which is the shape of an eye, sort of on a chain, sort of in the bottom of one of these things, on one of these chests. But it's just laying there.
I'm going to return all of the items that I noticed had been blessed a lot, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Return them to this storage compartment.
Okay, just sort of clean things up a bit.
Yeah. But and I also search for this little secret compartments, and I mean I don't want to place, but I have to admit I'm looting.
Yeah. That takes a few minutes, but yeah, you don't. Nothing untoward happens to you while you're doing it.
Well, okay, I don't find anything other than what you've described, so. Well.
Okay. Any other things before Snapper comes out of the temple and starts thinking maybe we ought to ask this priestess a couple of questions?
Well, I present Kazir with the papers that I, got out of the priest's room.
Okay. Kazir, you look through them, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easily readable written Kalishite, quite clear, a bit highfalutin language from your point of view, but certainly understandable. Basically, what the contents of them are, there's a variety of things: partial sermons, lists of notes from books. Oh, you did, Doug. You did find a small but reasonably comprehensive library on religious matters are related specifically to Nethys.
All right. I would search all of that. I'm not.
Yeah, they're just books.
There's no what happened here, but
yeah, several of the books have markers in them of places have been highlighted in ink and that kind of stuff. This is a priest's working library. You would recognize it as such.
All right.
Kazir, the material that you're looking at looks like there's references, sort of aside references to books. See page blah 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 for more information. This just looks like this guy had been doing some work. There's also some more mundane documents of like send to there's what the people here in this town would refer to as like the big city. I don't know what name it is, but there's a list of like supplies to get next time I go to town, or when the next caravan comes through, see if they have any Chilaxian red wine, that kind of thing. Little notes to himself. Nothing that would be of much interest to anyone but the guy who wrote them.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys have been in this town for probably closing in on a half an hour. So it's getting, it's about mid-afternoon, I would say. early to mid-afternoon. It's pretty hot. So the temperature in this land, you're pretty far south, and even though it's late in the year, you're still got temperatures which are in the 80s, and it's a bit sweaty for those of you from more northern climes. That sun's beating down on you too. So what do you think? You gonna see what this dead woman has to say?
Les, did you assume that Nolan went back to the stables too behind that inn and checked those two for?
No, you're gonna go back there and check them out?
Yeah, I probably would have. I would have noticed them out the window probably that there was a stable back there, and
yeah,
same thing, just looking for her stuff.
Okay. All right. Doug, do you want to do some other things before I talk to Nolan about the stables?
Well, I mean, there's nothing more inside the temple. Do you mean?
Yeah, there's really nothing super interesting back there.
No, I mean, damn it.
What's the matter?
Oh, I have a hard time with, there it goes. All right. I got to make sure that I'm navigating around.
All right.
There's, what's 5? 5's down the ruins of the old town.
Yeah, that's that ruins. Remember I mentioned earlier that the newer town is built on top of the ruins, sort of the older town. Those are more of those ruins.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to be close. I don't want to be around the party. As I said, I took a 20, and I know that it might take me much longer than normal to completely search the temple. If I didn't find anything, which I didn't, except for the papers that I presented to Kazir, then I'm going to go back over here to the fountain, to where the dead woman is, or wherever the whoever took the body, if they went to the inn or something like that. My assumption or my intent would say, we've all spread out, we've gathered information. Now we're going to get back and find out, what the report in, so to speak.
Okay.
Did we do a quick sweep of the ruins of the old town? Would it make sense just to clear the area?
Well, it would be. I didn't know if anybody had done that. So
tell you what, before we do that, let's take a look. Nolan, you're peeking in those stables. Why don't you and Lama both give me a perception check over there?
Okay. Nolan, that's Lama.
Nolan, so you look in the stables and they seem pretty normal. I mean, it's a fairly modest stable. Stalls for horses, that kind of stuff. You're peering in there. You don't see any animals. You do see that the stables, they have hay. There's some of those horse turds that Kazir was talking about earlier. It doesn't look like it's been mucked out in a while. Basically deserted. Lama, you're sort of looking around, and as Nolan is sort of peeking in the door, so he's like, peeking inside, and all of a sudden you hear a low growl, and you see a couple of things, Lama. The first thing you see is this guy come around this thing. It looks like a guy, but then you see it kind of look around. He comes around the corner. He looks around at Nolan and leaps into the air at Nolan and just grabs onto him.
Ouch, damn it.
Around the same time, you see this guy come running full sprint around this side of the stable and goes right up to Nolan as well. Each of them will get a a surprise attack as Nolan his entire focus is in the stable. He doesn't see these guys come roaring up to them from either side. They're and you're just like, Lama, you're just sort of looking around, and then you look back, and all of a sudden you see these guys just go. They just hone in on Nolan, and you're just like, whoa, what? Because you've been kind of lulled by the heat and the desertedness of this thing. First things first. These guys, so they come running out of there. They have scimitars, which they each get a single attack, surprise attack at Nolan. Okay, there we go. I just want to see, and that's the damage is going to be. Ooh, that's tough. All right, so let's see what happens next. All right, each one is going to get a strike, and they do get flanking. They seem although they seem quite bestial at first and moving very quickly. Lama, as a military woman, you get the impression that them coming around from either side of the stable was not something that happened by accident. First attack, 27. Second attack, also 27. Are those hits?
Oh, yeah. I'm flat-footed, too, so yeah.
Oh, all right. So these scimitars, you see these scimitars, they just chop into him from both sides. This is going to be unpleasant for everybody, I think. 20 points of scimitar damage as they just like slash away. Lama, give me another perception check right before we roll for initiative here.
The free action, can I say something?
Sure.
I'm going to yell over my shoulder,
Ah!
Snapper, we need you.
All right. Snap, give me a perception check to see if you even hear that. All right. What did you roll, Lama? 20. You rolled a 20 perception check. All right. So
a 20 perception check for me too.
All right. You hear Lama yell out from down by over sort of behind the inn. You hear, Snapper, we need you. She sounds moderately alarmed.
Well, best speed.
Lama. You hear Snapper yell out, "I'll be there in a minute." I'm busy. Lama, you look back and you see these creatures. So a couple of things about these creatures are noticeable. First, they're dressed in very odd clothing. All right, so they're definitely human. They're dressed in very odd clothing, something that you would consider to be quite old-fashioned, like centuries old-fashioned. Imagine like hoplites, with the weird skirt and the bronze weapons, that kind of thing. That's kind of what they're wearing, and their scimitars are like that, of old-fashioned make and that kind of stuff. This is it's almost as if these guys have come, sort of come out of time and are about, from 4 or 5 centuries ago. Second, as you get a closer look at them, and you're about, how close are you to these guys? 20 feet. You see that they are not entirely human. There's a significant lack of blood in their skin. The ruddy glow of a person. They seem quite bloodless. Their eyes are red and bloodshot. Their claws are long, even though they're wearing armor and using weapons. And they smell.
I'm going to shout behind me, somebody come up on the west of the inn and flank if they can.
So you, Snapper, you hear Lama say, Snapper, we need you. And then you hear her say, come up on the western side of the inn so that you can get on the flank. And you're like,
someone.
As a reminder, I was backing up Snapper at the temple, so do I hear it as well?
You would hear it as well.
Okay.
All right, let's roll for initiative.
You might want me to roll. You might want me to roll that for myself. I don't know.
I'll let you do it. See how we do.
That's Nolan.
All right, let's get this show on the road ski.
Trust your feet.
Ooh. 10 for Rendell.
16 Nolan, 14 Lama.
Okay. Let me roll for these guys.
Don't I have a couple raging powers that you didn't put into that sheet because they're weird or something? Don't you have two things you had to like put in there? Where's that?
Man. All right, so let's go back through here. I gotta go back up to the top. Beltran, 9. Kazir, 9.
Raging powers feats.
Snap, 11.
Maybe it was raging powers.
Lama, 16.
Okay, it was raging powers. You're right.
Into 10. Nolan, 14. And I wrote that. Okay. So sadly, my guys rolled a 21 on initiative, which puts them at the top. And they take the opportunity to continue savaging Nolan from flanking positions. First attack. Ooh, 13 probably a miss, I would guess. Second attack. Oh, fumble potential. Let me go ahead and roll that. No fumble, just a miss. All right, so 2 misses, I think, unless a 13 hits you.
Well, I'm 17. Flat-footed is
Well, you shouldn't be flat-footed.
17. Yeah, it doesn't change. So yeah, I got a 17 AC.
Okay, you won't be flat-footed now since you've already been struck. All right.
Technically, until you go first, you're flat-footed.
Oh, really?
Until
Okay.
you first go, you're flat-footed.
Mute yourself, Mike.
My flat foot's the same, so it doesn't matter.
Mute yourself.
The part of Don will be played by Mike this evening.
I was going to say, Mike's always played this role.
But man, one of the things that you notice about them is that they seem to be moving very fast. All right. Next up is going to be Lama and Nolan, which makes a certain kind of sense.
These undead, Les?
Give me a perception check real quick. You get the impression that they are indeed some sort of undead, although it's a strange sort of undead, maybe one that you haven't seen before. I can describe them, if that would be helpful. It has tight, leathery skin, sunken eyes, and an emaciated frame, yet it moves with what the book refers to as an eerie alacrity. It means it's quite speedy.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to try to burst energy at him, hurt him. So it's a will save for half damage.
Okay. Okay. What's the DC on that?
Second.
You're welcome. Did you see that?
Good roll.
Yeah, that's not bad.
13.
First guy, no. Second guy, yes. So the first guy is down and to the left. And so he takes 15, and the other guy takes 7. All right. You see them growl and hiss as the energy hits them. But they renew their attacks almost immediately. And they're focusing completely on Nolan.
You rage me, please. I can't read it. Well, Lama's going to go into a rage.
Okay. You're raging when then, so you doing anything else? Because you can rage as a swift action, right?
Yeah, I can. I'm just waiting for taking some shit out of the chart. Okay, so.
Phineas, did you roll initiative?
I did not.
Please do so when you get a moment.
I have a moment.
I only get one attack. Do I get my first one?
You have to move so you have to have a full attack.
I know, so I just get my first one, right? That's my question.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. All right.
22.
22. All right. Let's finish up with Phineas. That would make it effectively you got skipped. So let's finish up with Lama. And whoops.
Whoa, that's nice. Let's do that.
43 is going to be a hit.
Whoa.
30 to hit. So you ran up there. Who are you hitting? You're hitting Nolan?
Yeah, absolutely. Because he's out of his misery.
Yeah, it's about time somebody finished him off.
Step 2 less before I'm done.
I'm hitting
Okay.
this guy.
That's
Go
a
ahead.
potential
All right.
crit.
That is, for the scimitar, that's a potential crit. So go ahead and roll that.
Shit. Shoot.
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 13.
Don't think it's going to be quite enough. Not going to be quite enough. All right, so no crit, but you do get exploding dice.
I don't do that often enough to remember how that works.
So when you roll your damage dice, anytime you get a maximum damage on a dice, you get to roll that dice again.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't, but there it is. 20.
Okay, so 20 points. So you come running up and a nice sword strike, 20-point sword strike, cuts deep into this guy. Essentially, they seem, the closer you get, the more you realize that these are some sort of undead. You slash into them, and where normally a strike like that would have people, glurting blood all over the place and that kind of stuff, the only thing that you see come out of this pretty nasty slash that you put in this guy's chest is this sort of brownish black sort of gel that kind of oozes out a little bit. He looks down at it and looks at you and just like, that kind of thing.
I tell him he needs to drink more water.
Okay. All right. That is Lama and Nolan. Phineas, let's jump right back up to you. What do you do? So you're way down here by the fountain.
Right.
You would have heard. Give me a perception check real quick.
Okay. 25.
25. You would have heard the same thing. You would have heard Lama yelling out, Snapper, I need you. You guys, come around the flank. We need help.
Okay. So I'll
the western edge of the inn.
So I'll head that way, but if we're looking at 3 squares per round?
Well, the squares themselves are 5. The red squares are 5 foot.
Right, the big square. So I could end up, here?
Well, what's your speed? It's 30, right?
30.
Okay, so you can use that would be a single move action. If you wanted to expend another move action, you could use another 30.
Technically, if you're not doing anything else, you can move either 3 or 4 times, 3 times your movement if you've only got medium armor or less, 4 times, 3 times your movement if you've got heavy armor, 4 times your movement if you've got only medium or light armor.
If you're running.
Yeah, it's an all-out run.
Which means you can't do anything else.
Yeah, you can't defend yourself. There's no attacks. Yeah.
All right. I just need to get in distance so they can hear me sing Final Countdown.
Okay.
It's the final countdown.
So
what's the range on that Final Countdown?
And that's 3. Do I still have time to start singing?
I don't think so. You can't do anything else. So that's a 30-foot.
When you do any kind of run, that's the only thing you're doing.
That's a 30-foot range, right?
Yeah.
All right. There's your circle of influence.
Gotcha.
So this zombie seems quite hardened. You can see him kind of. He's rocking. Okay, so that's Phineas. Let's go back. Snapper and Rindle.
Well, I heard her say to come up on the west end, so best speed for me is going to be 40.
Well, I not you. I just told you to get your ass up there. I told get someone else to come up on the west side of the inn and flank specifically. So if it's faster for you to go on the east, I wasn't asking you to flank. I was just asking you to make sure you were up here.
Well, I'm going to double move, so that's 40. These are 10-foot squares or 5 foot?
These are the red squares are 5 feet. The larger map-based squares are 10 feet.
All right, so that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I make it up to here.
Okay. All right, so you will see these two creatures, which you recognize as being some sort of undead, fighting Nolan and Lama.
All right.
All right. Hold on a second. Okay. All right, so that's Snap. What about you, Rindle? You see Snapper head up that same alleyway around the other side. You also saw Phineas come roaring past you. He's just like, doing the full O.J. Simpson up that alley.
Yeah, I go tearing after. As soon as I heard it was Snapper, I try to basically be on his heels. We're both the squishy ones here, but I don't think we should be separated. So, where am I? Can I move myself?
Yeah, you should be able to. You're right. Hold on a sec. You're right here.
Where?
Right here by the fountain.
Okay. I see me.
Okay.
This is me. Okay. And where did Snapper go this way?
Snapper went. He went that way. Although
you guys not see me on the map? I mean, I thought I was.
Well, I'm looking at it not as zoomed in. Is that you right there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then Phineas went up the other alley around the west side of the inn.
I'll pull side by side with Snapper here and see what I can see.
All right. You you're pretty close. You would see that Lama is laying about with her scimitar against two other dudes who are dressed really weirdly, but also have scimitars, which you think are made of bronze. And they're sort of fighting. They're trying to get at Nolan, but Lama seems to be holding them back, and Nolan seems to be scooting out of there.
Okay.
Okay. Then do you have another move, or is that 2 moves or just 1?
That was just 1 move.
Okay.
I'm going to cast, on one of the 2 here, I'm going to cast Spontaneous Immolation.
What? What the hell is that?
Level 2 spell.
Okay. Spontaneous Immolation?
Yeah.
Right.
The old Spontaneous Immolation, eh?
It happened to me once after I had some noggles one night.
R.I.P. Noggles.
Spontaneous Immolation. All right, let's have a look at this spell. Okay, you point your finger at a creature, causing it to spontaneously burst into flame. Fortitude for half and reflex. The fortitude reduces the damage by half and prevents the target from catching fire. Each round on your turn, a burning target can attempt a new save to extinguish the flames if they are on fire. So, fortitude save. What's the which one are you picking on?
The one that looks least engaged, or is not going to catch him.
That one over there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I get a fort save.
It's a DC 17.
Yeesh. That's a tough save, man. I don't like that one bit. Not one bitty bit, especially since I just saw their fort save bonuses. He did not make his save. So how much points of damage?
Great question. I just closed it while I opened the map back up.
I got it. It's 3d6 points of fire damage and catches on fire.
Wait 1 second.
Just want to check some notes.
You ready?
Yep.
There's no pluses here, right? So it's just 3d6. Looks like
3d6, yeah.
Ugh.
5 points, and he catches on fire. All right.
That's the worst possible roll, pretty much.
All right. So he's this is a little bit disconcerting. So he takes 5 points of damage. I'm going to go ahead and minus that.
And now he's
done.
burning.
And he's burning. So you see him. He's getting ready to strike at Nolan with his scimitar, and then he bursts into flames, and he's on fire. His clothing is on fire. His hair, what hair he has, his skin, seems to be burning. And he sort of just looks over at you and just smiles.
That
does not seem to be hurting him a bit.
As a free action, I was like, okay, Snap, I guess I'm good here. Let me know how it turns out.
Hold on a second.
We should go check that temple out real quick. All right.
Hold on.
Usually a lot of screaming and running around when I set somebody on fire. Not really working
Yeah,
out so
usually. In this case, not. Which is weird. I'm just going to put this on him just to let him know that he's on fire there. So smoke is kind of pouring out. This sort of brackish, oily smoke is starting to pour off of him. He does not seem nonplussed by this.
Is that a double negative? I have to think to figure that out.
Let me double check. I don't want to be I'm a big word user, so I don't want to be an idiot. Hold on.
He does not seem nonplussed.
Nonplussed means surprised and confused, so
Right.
much that he's unsure how to react. So he does not seem nonplussed means he seems unperturbed and not disconcerted.
Yeah, it's in the same category as bemused. Wait, what does he mean? Is he amused? Is he what does bemused mean?
I always like that word nonplussed. It has a nice ring to it. Anyway, he seems oddly calm for a dude who's on fire. All right. All right, that's Rindle. Beltran, Kazir, you guys are up. You guys are all the way back there. Now, Beltran, both of you give me a perception check. Beltran's, yours is going to be easier. What'd you roll, bud?
Only a 31.
And a 25 for Kazir. All right, so you both would have heard Lama yelling, and you would have, Kazir, you would have looked around. Beltran, you were facing that direction anyway, and you would have seen basically everybody sort of shoot north into that alleyway by the thing. There's something going on back there. You just saw Rindle cast a spell, for Pete's sake.
Okay.
So you go up there.
I've got precise shot.
Okay. You gonna thread that needle? Boy, that's a lot of people. He would get that's +4 cover. That's too many people. Now, is that the extent of your first movement?
Yes. So I can move again, but then I don't get the need.
You don't get the shot. You can take the shot, but it'll be +4 cover. There's just too many people, and then there's the corner of the building too.
Okay.
That's a miss. That arrow goes wide. Sorry, dude. You tried to cut the corners, but you didn't hit anybody else. Kazir, what about you?
Do a double move to get to where I am.
Okay, so you, from that point, you see Beltran. I mean, Beltran's right next to you, and he shoots, but you can't. I don't think you can actually see anybody from where you are. You can't see. I mean, you can see Snapper and Rindle. What I'm saying is, I don't think you can see any enemies.
Chuck, if you're not doing anything else, you can do a triple. You don't have any armor, right?
No, none.
You can do a triple or a quadruple move in one round.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you want to run.
Well, let's see here.
Quadruple in this case because of the lack of armor.
In that case, I'm going to move to here.
Okay.
And now I can see everything.
You can see everything, including two guys fighting Nolan and Lama. Lama's having like a sword fight with one guy. The other guy seems to be fighting Nolan, but he also seems to be on fire.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Top of the order, which in this case is Phineas, as we go into round 2. So I'm assuming you're cranking the jams, or you were planning on cranking the jams.
I was planning. I've just got to get in range. But
Does that inspire courage? Does that inspire courage you're doing?
yeah, I can do Inspire Courage. That's +2 on any of your combat stuff.
I'm not trying to influence you. I just wanted to make sure I got
No, I was thinking either moving closer and singing or trying to fire off some arrows with point blank shot. So there's just one left. Let me try that. Just how close do I have to be to get flanking or give other people flanking?
You have to have a melee weapon. You have to be adjacent.
Oh. Yeah, you have to be adjacent.
Gotcha.
Since you're not a rogue, you can't flank with a ranged weapon.
Gotcha. Crud. All right, let's see. I guess they're within my range if I move here, so I'll begin inspiring courage.
Da-na-na-na. Da-na-na-da-da. Okay, so you're gonna move up to there and start inspiring courage. Okay, great. And that's +2.
Yep.
Okay.
I would have greatly preferred Asia play than Adam Levine tonight.
How was it?
No, I was impressed. I didn't think he could still build.
It was like, I don't know.
What do you sing? What song?
Oh, it's like they do that medley shit.
All his songs
Oh,
sound
it is.
exactly the same, Les. So, I'm sorry. Did I get myself away that I wasn't on the side of Maroon 5?
I'm not a fan of Maroon 5 either, so it's okay.
It was completely forgettable. It makes Bruno Mars's sets look completely, like.
You can't stand next to that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting anything.
He was not Prince. He was not Springsteen. He was not the Stones.
No.
What did you say, Jennifer?
I wasn't expecting much, so I guess he exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, the only thing of note the entire game, in my opinion, was the Budweiser / Game of Thrones mashup.
That was good. That commercial.
That was awesome.
Yeah, you guys probably didn't appreciate when he took his shirt off either, Adam Levine. That probably just didn't do anything for you. So, hence maybe my different reaction.
It reminded me of the 1/8 of a second of Janet Jackson nipple controversy that that we had to listen to for 3 years. So that.
I thought about that too. We saw 2 nipples tonight.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I guess his one tattoo on his lower left, his lower kidney, is like, is that a giant butterfly? All these badass tattoos, and then just like a rando butterfly hanging out there.
That's nice. It's nice to have butterfly tattoos, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Phineas, that's it for you?
I think so, yeah.
All right. Lama, as you were fighting this guy, you happen to look over to your right, and you see another one coming up fast. From around out of the ruins, comes right up to you and takes a slice at you. A big slice.
Cat, go away from me.
12. Shame as the slice will miss as you dodge out of the way. But then you also see another guy come around this thing and begin running up this way as well. And he runs to there.
What the heck?
Also takes a shot at you. 14. That doesn't hit you, right?
Nope.
All right. So now there's 4 of these guys. And again, even though they look a little different, I mean, you can tell that they are different humans. They have that same sort of emaciated look, that sunken thing, and they move craptastically fast.
Craptastically?
Craptastically fast. That's in the book. So
I love it.
all right, so that's them. The other 2. So fire guy. I'm gonna do a quick perception for him. So quick thing here. Okay, so it's not great, but it's still something. This is the 12. He's gonna focus. He's focused on Nolan, so he's gonna move against Nolan again. Kind of just like get the fire and the dude. Hold on a second. Equipping the poo. There we go. All right, so he's going to 5-foot step up to there and attack Nolan. He does not have flanking anymore, sadly enough, which I really enjoyed the flanking. Ooh, 20. Is that a hit? Nola Rooney?
Yeah, that's a hit.
Okay. Vicious slash. Ooh, max damage, 14 points of scimitar. So they came up, and then this guy is going to attack Lama. So 3 on Lama, 1 on Nolan.
One's
That's
already
good.
attacked me, right? Oh, then he gets
2 of them have already attacked you, but there's the third one, the one that was already there. Now,
Oh, yeah.
he's going to, what else is he going to do? So he's going to, he is going to attack with the scimitar, but he's also going to try and bite you. You see his head kind of lean forward as he tries to bite you. The scimitar comes first. 23.
Yep.
Ooh, and that's going to be 13 points of damage. And then the bite strike comes through. Hold on a second. And misses, but you can hear those teeth just like clank down. It's like 2 big pieces of ivory smacking into each other. As his teeth come together, just a few shy inches from your forearm when he tried to bite you. All right, that being the case, Lama and Nolan, you guys are up. Suddenly, this alleyway is getting really crowded with these creatures.
Nolan's going to take a 5-foot step back and strike with his spear. The guy that's attacking him.
Okay. 19 is going to hit. Just barely, but that's a hit. 16 damage.
Yep.
Is that a magical spear?
I do not think so.
The spear is inspire courage.
It's
No, I'm talking about the weapon itself.
Oh, sorry.
His spear. He has a long spear.
Oh, spear. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have any ensorcelment on it.
It's not a pickle spear.
no, it does not.
Okay. So you do feel like that these creatures have some sort of, I don't know, some sort of weird resistance to mundane weapons. You hit them, you do some damage to them, but you feel like you were rebuffed a bit magically. It does also cut him. You actually give him a little hole with the spear as you jab him with it, and out comes that same sort of like brownish black gel or goo that comes out of the hole. He's still on fire, by the way, too. So that smell is pretty rank. All right, Lama, what are you going to do?
I'm going to take my also mundane scimitar, and I'm going to hit this one first, and then this one second.
Okay. Go for it.
I'm going to try. 28.
will hit. So that was the middle one, the one right in front of you, right?
Uh-huh. And then 25 is the
20.
one to the left.
25 will also hit.
Oops.
Oh, that was the middle one, right?
Chuck,
Oh, no.
man, don't send me your juju. I got Chuck juju.
Oh, sure. Blame it on me.
At least it was the damage.
Yeah, amen. Amen.
That one on the left looking pretty worse for wear, but still on his feet.
Jeez.
You missed it by 1. You did 1 less point of damage than he has. I don't want to give it away. All right, and you're gonna take a 5-foot step backwards at the end of that.
Uh-huh.
Okay. These things are just coming at you. All right, Snapper and Rindle. You see these 2 more of them show up from out of the nowhere.
Jeez.
Well, I'm going to move up 20.
Okay.
5. Well, I'm going to go up 15. And then I'm going to burst to harm undead.
All right. I get reflex
You're in
saves
my
on
aura,
that.
so
Will saves, right?
It's a die 15 will save.
Okay.
I don't think your aura affects that.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
What aura?
He's inspiring courage. He's barding it up. All right, I'm going to go from south to north, left to right. So first fire guy did not make his save. Guy that just is on his last legs made his save, but I don't think it's going to help him. Middle guy, that's a make, right?
Yep.
And end guy, miss. So the two on the corners miss, the two in the middle make it.
Yeah, DC 15. DC 15 for half.
Okay, so I think half damage. Guy's got 1 hit point left. He's going down.
All right, well, there's my roll.
13 points. All right, so fire guy staggers backward. He's still on his feet, but man, he got hit hard. And that does bypass any nascent DR they might have.
Yeah.
And then half of that is...
Shit, I'm out of his range, aren't I?
There you go. All
I'm
right.
not in his range.
These two aren't.
Llama says, "Hey Phineas, come a little closer. Join the party."
I will as soon as I can.
A pressure wave of divine might shoots out and blasts these guys. You can see as this sonic boom of divine magic hits them and knocks them backwards. Knocks them completely off. Almost blows out the fire, but not quite.
Not quite.
Rindle.
Sorry, I was on mute. Okay, so are there 3 of them still standing or 2 now?
3.
I see 2 here. Where's the third one?
The third one is over in the alley. This one on fire.
This one on fire? Yep. This one's dead.
Yeah, that one got Snapper did some sort of divine pressure wave.
And there's about a 5-foot gap in between. Who's this right here?
That's Lama.
I have the map zoomed super far out. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Okay, there we go. That's better. All right, I'm going to cast web just behind them so it doesn't get out to Lama.
Okay. So you wanted to grab them but not Lama, I'm going to guess?
Correct.
Okay, so web, I believe, is a 20-foot.
Breathing room. Right, so if I target it back here, it should get them fine and leave Lamb out. And then if anybody else is about to peer around the building, might snag them too.
Okay, 20-foot radius. Your webs are purple.
It's a personal choice. Little flare.
On 20-foot radius. That's big, man. I always forget how big webs are.
That's why it's fun for new players to cast them on their own party members.
I think if you cast it where you were going to, you'll be casting it on me.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. I was thinking, you're right. I was still thinking it was smaller than that. So
40-foot diameter.
So right there.
Hold on.
Keeps moving it.
Me, I'm trying to get it in position here. Hold on a second. All right, here we go.
Okay.
So right like that.
Yeah, right there. A little bit farther back. Tiny bit.
Okay.
There you go. Hard be Lama.
Like that?
Yep.
All right,
And then
that
hopefully-
whole area is webbed. So,
There might be some people we can't see yet that just got stuck too.
yeah, reflex negates. So, okay, so what's the DC on that?
That is also a 17.
17, and they have shitty reflex. Hold on. I just want to double
And they move fast enough.
They move fast, but reflex saves are their well, no, their fortitude saves are worse. Okay, so reflex is okay. All right, so
I'm yell to Phineas that anyone that joins the party on the bad guy's side might be coming your direction.
Ah!
First one 14, second one 21. So the one on the right is not captured, but this one in the middle is captured. Hold on, I'm going to move this back.
I evened up the odds for you, Lama.
I'm going to put purple circle on the guy who is captured. The other one is not captured.
Okay.
So he's effectively grappled in the web.
I'm going to use the Vern this guy, get him done.
All right. You can't do that this round, though, right?
Me?
Yeah.
You want to give me extra actions? I'll be happy to. No.
Yeah,
I would just throw it out there
right.
that somebody needs to Vern him, not me.
Beltran and Kazir.
Just a time check here. Aren't we done in 3 minutes?
Yeah, it was the bottom of the order, so I think this would be probably the last round.
I'm moving up to there, and I'm bursting against undead, which should
okay.
We did all 3 of them.
All right.
Nice.
And I do get saves, yes?
Yeah, save 16.
There he goes. Better in the cleric.
He's nothing but trouble, that one. All right.
See, I didn't better you there.
All right.
On the rolls, maybe not, but the DC is higher than mine.
All right. Fire guy did not make it. Middle guy, webbed guy did make it. Next to web guy did make it. All right. So 6 points for fire guy and then 3 points for the other 2. So fire guy goes down in a pile. He is now face down and burning in the alleyway. The rest of these guys take damage from another of one of these pressure waves that comes through and hits them. All right, Kazir.
Is there room enough in front of Lama to not get in the web?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna cast shield.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna move here.
All right. So you're casting shield and moving up front.
Right.
All right. Let me note that. Shield up.
Cut his head off.
All right. Cool. All right. That is the end of round 3, I believe.
I was gonna say, oh man.
Yeah, you just got it because you're just like slips right in front of you, Lama. All right. So it is as Matt pointed out, it is 11. You guys want to go one more round, or do you want to stop here?
Yeah, I'm game for one more.
Yeah, me too.
I'm good.
All
I'm
right.
good.
Phineas, you're up. Last
All
round.
right. I will move closer.
Okay. There's a flaming creature in the. It's still burning merrily, by the way.
5 foot's all you need to get everybody back.
Well, let's see. That should do it in terms of inspiring courage for the people that can save my ass.
Okay.
The dog is signaling me that she has to go out, and she has to go out now, so I'll be right back.
Okay.
All
right. My turn. All right. So, okay. So that is since he's in the web, to get out of the web, he has to break the grapple. So let's hold on a second. Let's see if I still have. All right. All right, so basically he has to roll an escape artist check, or basically a CMD check against, and in this case, because it's a spell, it's Rindle's difficulty check, right?
Yep. So
it's your DC.
17.
17. So he's got to roll to extricate himself from that grapple. He has to roll a CMD roll of better than 17. So his CMB is where is it? I don't see it. Shit. Okay, it's +6. Okay. So not out of the question. Got to get an 11 or better. And I got it. So you see this guy sort of rip himself out. He comes one step forward and brings, well, that's all he's going to, he's not going to be able to do anything other than do that escape artist check. This other guy is
Does that provoke?
It's only 5 foot, so it does not.
I meant the.
Oh, wait, the escape artist check.
The escape artist check.
Yeah, so from you, not Lama.
Right. This is +2. So 20.
20 will hit for
and actually
damage.
Yeah.
Now, is your scimitar ensorcelled in any way?
It is. It's a +1.
+1. All right. So that actually penetrates their DR. So nicely done. You get a nice slash at him, and as a bonus, you get his full attention, even though he was headed for land. The other one, having no other... Actually, you know what he's going to do? He's going to take a 5-foot step. Oh, well, he can't do a 5-foot step because it's difficult terrain. But he's going to step over to there to get the flanking bonus. And he's going to...
Step?
It is not a 5-foot step, so he only gets one attack because he's got to come out of difficulty.
It's an actual move. Okay.
Yeah, and since Kazir already did his attack of opportunity, he doesn't get the threatened square bonus. But he's going to go ahead and try and hit Kazir with his scimitar and flank. It's the flankero flanking bonus, so he gets +2 and hits a natty Twunzo. Let's see if that crits. 24 hit you? Ah, that's a crit from the guy. Let's take a look and see what that does. All right, so that is with a scimitar. That's a melee weapon. He's a pretty troublesome dude. Ooh. Concussion. Target suffers max plus bonus.
Damn.
And 1 intelligence and 1 wisdom damage.
Like that's going to stop a fighter.
That's not going to stop a fighter. But you're not a fighter, are you?
Fighter sorcerer. I'm neither smart nor wise.
Excellent. Perfect. All right. So max damage.
Right in front of me.
Let's go ahead and roll the bonus damage.
Precisely.
Which is D6 plus 8. So it's 10 plus 14, 24 points of damage.
Ouch.
A hefty hit. Rindle, give me a perception check.
One moment. Oh, okay, let's scroll down. Here we go. That's my highest perception check of the night.
14. Okay. Everything seems to be happening in front of you.
Nothing. No, look behind you. All's good.
All right. All right. That is me, Lama, and Nolan. Getting busy up front. Lama,
Wait, that wasn't my turn, right? That was just my perception check?
Just a rando perception check. Okay. Lama, you just saw Kazir get swatted by that dude with scimitar.
I was going to say, that's what you get for stealing my cat toy.
That was only D6.
Oh, thanks.
Not bad for a D6.
12 is going to miss whoever that was. A spear attack?
Yeah.
Okay. That's going to miss.
Okay, I'm going to hit the guy on the right.
Okay, the one that just critted Kazir?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to move here. Well, actually, I'm going to stay here. Maybe I'll draw his next attack. Okay. Both hits to the same guy.
Oh, that's a natty one. We're going to have to roll to see if that's...
Oh, you know what? It doesn't matter. Okay, my first hit is +13, but that still doesn't matter, does it?
It's still a natty one, so let's roll to confirm that. Oh, well, wait. 8. Is it +13?
My first hit's supposed to be a +13, and
It's
I
supposed
did
to be 5 higher than that.
It's supposed to be 5 higher. Okay, so 23 is an unconfirmed
Okay.
fumble, so just a miss, and ends your turn.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so that was the first strike. So you've missed it.
Rewind.
Snapper and Rindle.
Snapper.
Well, I'm going to, I guess, take a step up here to make sure I get everybody, and then reboost to hurt undead.
You're going to hurt undead again. Okay. All right, so how many? 2. I have 2.
Not bad.
It's good
You
roll.
don't make me, cat.
So what's the DC?
15.
15. All right, air is miss and hit. So the guy on the left who just ripped himself out of the thing, he takes 13. He falls. He drops. This guy takes How much was it?
7.
He takes 7 points of damage. And as he's hit by that wave of anti-undead magic and pushed backwards against the building a little bit.
Come on, Kazir.
Okay.
Rindle,
you're up, bud.
All right. Do I feel anything breathing in my neck?
No. You want to go ahead? Go ahead and do another perception check.
I feel like
Hey, what's that coming up from the south?
No one sees that.
I just did.
18. Rindle, you look around and you see one of these creatures just like coming, and it's coming up fast at you.
This one down here?
This one's the one you see, yeah. The other one is still hidden from sight behind the building.
All right. I will, as a free action, call out to Beltran and Nolan and everybody else who's in their range here. We got some coming up behind us. I'm going to take a 5-foot step back here, get closer to Nolan. And then I'm going to, what can I do against a creature that would be useful?
Why in the world didn't we see these guys if they're coming in the direction of the temple?
What, do you still have the spontaneous simulation open, Les? I just want to know is that what's the range on that?
Range on spontaneous immolation is 100 foot plus 10 foot per level, medium range.
He's in range. All right, so I'm going to hit him with spontaneous immolation.
This one down here?
Yep, the one I can see.
All right, I get a save, right?
17, baby.
Fortitude for half. So my problem is my fortitude saves are only like +1, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I feel real bad.
Made it.
Shouldn't have talked trash.
So for spontaneous simulation, I half damage and no catch fire. So go ahead and roll the damage, 3d6.
So 4.
Isn't that what his 9 was?
Okay. I will go ahead.
It's a different page.
Yeah, it's a 9. I just now saw it. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the
That'd be 4 or 5. We round down, right?
Just temporary until I get more.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and take the damage off. There you go.
It's all over the house.
Wait, off who did you take it off?
I did take it off.
Off this guy? You took it off?
I did.
All right.
And on that note,
I'm gonna.
The fire seems to just like sort of spin. It starts to burn him a little bit and then sort of just like poofs out. Like it burns itself out. It's like it can't seem to catch on to him.
These ones look meaner.
All right, so you do that. Beltran and Kazir to follow out the bottom of the order.
I'm gonna let Kazir go first.
I want to attack the one that hit me.
Okay.
These will be +2 for the Inspire Courage. So 16.
16 will miss, I'm sorry to say. Not quite good enough. All right. Belt, is that it for you, Kazir? Are you going to move? You going to jump in the web?
No, I think I'll stay here.
Okay. Kazir, or Beltran? So you just saw Rindle turn around, get a scared look on his face, and shoot some sort of fire thing down the alley.
Right.
I called out there was more behind us too.
Yep. So you want to go ahead and if you kind of like peek around behind you,
I'd probably do a quick snap perception.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah, you see him. You just see the one though. You just see
right.
You can't see that one.
Well, since we got both our fighters up there, and I realize that I'm now the front line on this southern.
Yeah.
I'm going to fire.
Form square. Form square.
You're going to fire from cover? Just fire at that guy just kind of around the corner?
Yeah, just around the corner. Yep.
Okay. Go for it.
And these are all +2.
Okay, so the first one will miss, 18 will miss, 21 will hit. So that's 21 points of damage from the arrow.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that was, so, yeah. I wasn't supposed to do that twice.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a
So
16. It's a
and
16,
22.
or it's an 18 and a 22.
18 and 22. Okay, so the 18 will miss barely, and the 22 will definitely hit.
Okay.
7 points of
This is
damage.
a magical bow.
Okay, that's good to know. The arrow sticks in the guy, and you see him sort of look down, and he kind of looks up at you, and he's like, "Ah!" and snaps it off, throws it down, and keeps charging. All right, and that is the end of round 4. And I think, yeah, we're a quarter after. We'll go ahead and stop, I think, for tonight. You want to do that?
Yeah, let's call it.
Yeah.
All right, let's call it. All right, cool. So next week we're back to the main party A team, but we'll keep this handy. Now I believe. Let me check the. Hold on. Let me check the. Shit. Where is it? There we go. Today is 3 Feb. So the next pre-scheduled is probably 24 February.
Okay.
Since we're doing it this year. We did B team 200. So 2 weeks, so 3 weeks from tonight will be the next B team.
Okay.
Cool. And then we'll do A team in the next 2 TVs. Now I'm a maybe on the 17th. I gotta figure out if I'm gonna be available on that Sunday. Because I'll be out of town for part of that weekend. But we should be okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Les, I got a quick question for you.
Sure.
Thanks, Les.
Yep, you bet.
All right.
Hey,
See you
call me
later.
this
Thanks,
week. I want to know how
everybody.
you're doing.
See you guys.
Les?